clic-on-health for local health professionals page. It can be used by anyone with internet access, but the emphasis on the resources we're going to look at today is those resources that we have placed on the website for the health professional. Now, all the websites that are on the page are vetted by the clic-on-health steering committee that's made up of Rochester area librarians. So this morning we're going to take a look at some of the databases and resources that are included as part of the clic-on-health for local health professionals page. Before we do this, I want to give you a quick history of clic-on-health up to today, really. So we have a short little PowerPoint. It's not working. There, okay? Yep. Okay. Our first technical issue of the morning. Let's see here. All right, there we go. And again, this is something we're trying, and we'll get better at it, I'm sure, as we go along, so thanks for your patience. clic-on-health is a community project, and it brings high-quality health information to the people of Rochester, and as I mentioned, it is made available through the Rochester Regional Library Council. It's a collaborative project, so the librarians in the area, the medical, public, hospital, school librarians are aware of clic-on-health and have contributed to its administration in terms of the steering committee. And then we say it provides a one-stop shopping for health information for all people in the Rochester area, and it is free of charge. We have a website. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at the local health professionals page more closely, but it is available to anyone who has access to the internet. We have always had a strong training component to clic-on-health. Librarians have been trained to help their library users. School nurses have been trained to help their students and their staff locate information. And seniors have been trained by librarians in the area to use the computers and to search for health-related questions using clic-on-health. Now, the outreach activities that included health professionals began in actually 2008 when we were approached by one of our library directors who was, she was approached by a student who had graduated from the nursing program, and this student wanted to know, how do I access all the wonderful resources I had access to as an undergraduate? Well, unfortunately, a lot of folks who are out as health professionals do not have access to the resources that were available to them when they were in school. So we became aware that there was a group of underserved users, and we wondered, where are they getting their information? So with the help of the Genesee Valley Nursing Association, the clic-on-health steering committee, and the nursing faculty in the area, the nursing schools, we decided we wanted to look for funding to be able to develop a project that would fulfill the information needs of this group. So in 2009, we were awarded a grant for the National Network of Library of Medicine, and we called it Getting the Healthy Word Out, a train-the-trainer approach for nurses. And the purpose of the project was to develop an outreach program that would train, in this case, nurses to use the clic-on-health website to access reliable information that was free full text. And the emphasis, again, was on free full text information, evidence-based clinical information. So we developed a page, and we're going to look at that today, the clic-on-health for health professionals page, and again with the emphasis that it would link to free full-text websites, both clinical and consumer health information, because we know the health professional needs to provide that good quality information to their patient or clientele. And included are PubMedMedline, the NLM Gateway resources, a series of clinical practice guidelines, novel New York health databases, drug medication websites, Medline Plus, and more. There's quite a bit that we've included. And I will give you an overview of what we have here today from the local health professionals page. And then the next three webinars, we will go into more detail about what is included. So there's our clic-on-health for local health professionals page with our categories, which are somewhat general, but we will take a look at those today. And we also have a tutorials for health professionals page, which includes some tutorials that are available from the National Library of Medicine, plus tutorials that we have created to reflect the training that we've been able to do over the course of the last couple of years. There are YouTube on YouTube, and we also have user guides that we've included on this page as well. Okay, so bringing you up to date fairly quickly, we have been able to obtain additional funding. In 2010, we were able to extend the project to include not just nurses, but other health professionals. We had 9 agencies. At this point, we're actually up to 13 agencies that are participating in the project, and we have had the assistance and participation with the area nursing schools as well. So the latest version of the award is actually expanded to include health professionals, nurses and other health professionals in the rural counties. And we are doing training right now, and we're starting the webinar. So this is a new version of how we're being able to get the information out to folks. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to click right onto the clic-on-health website. And here is our homepage, and again, it is available to anyone who has access to the internet. clic-on-health has been, promoted as a consumer health website, and we do still have that information here under the categories health information. Healthcare in Rochester, New York will contain the local websites and support groups and physician information and so forth. And then the health information training page has a section for seniors, and then the tutorials for local health professionals. Now we are going to go and take a look at this section, the local health professionals page. You can also get to these resources from the banner that's on the side here. Just quickly, you may want to take note that we do have a clic-on-health news. We try to keep that updated, so interesting things in the news. We also, too, on this side of the screen, we have a service called Ask a Medical Librarian, and this is for your consumer health questions. If you have a client or a patient that has a question that needs the assistance of a medical librarian, my suggestion is you can click here and it will actually go out to either the Rochester General Hospital Library or the University of Rochester. Again, it is for a consumer health question. We're hoping that the health professionals and the clinicians will learn through our service how they can find their own health information. But again, consumer health information is available from this service. And Marianne, who I think has joined us today, Marianne Howie is the librarian at the Stabens Wellness Info Center. And she will actually, if you're interested, you can contact her directly, again, for a consumer health related question. And she has some nice new brochures that are available as well. And then before we get into the local health professionals page, just quickly telling you that we do have a nice feature, health resources for languages other than English. Quite a few websites out there in multiple languages that would be interesting if that's the type of information you need. And we do link to the catalogs of the Monroe County Library System and the the OWL, which is the Pioneer Library System, which is Ontario, Wyoming, Wayne, and Livingston counties. Okay, so let's go, and we're going to take a look now at the local health professionals page. Again, you can link to it from here or from the banner. Okay, and what we have done, again, we don't create the content. We act as a gateway, and we link out to these websites and databases that we know are of very high quality. Again, we have a steering committee. We have had input from nursing faculty and the nurses themselves. So we feel pretty good about what we have here. And we hope that the clic-on-health website, acting as a gateway, will help folks in terms of knowing where to go to answer specific kinds of questions. So what I want to do is to go through each of these different links that we've created here. And if you do have questions, again, we can address them at the end of the session. But keep in mind that we will have some additional webinars where we will go into more detail about each of these resources. Okay, so we're going to take a look here at the PubMedMedline. And let me emphasize again that what we've tried to do is to help people find information, raise awareness of what's out there that is free text, free and full text. We do talk about what you can do, what your options are if you're not able to find something full text. That's our emphasis when we do training. So here, PubMedMedline, PubMedMedline is the database from the National Library of Medicine, and it contains millions of references to articles that are published in biomedical and related journals. And a lot of what you'll find here, more and more, is available free full text. Now, there are really great tutorials that are available produced by the National Library of Medicine. You can go in and you can learn a lot about each different features of Medline, PubMedMedline, and they're short and they're very good. We've also included here information about obtaining articles when searching PubMed. And we do, as I said, emphasize how you can actually find the full text right when you're doing a search, but sometimes you're not going to be able to do that. So PubMed Central we will talk about in terms of it being an option for full text information. Link out if you were at the University of Rochester or another academic health library, they may very well have a link out when you're doing a PubMed search to their collection. That is not going to work here on clic-on-health. Another option is Lonesome Doc, which is a service that is available. In this case, locally, the University of Rochester's Edward G. Miner Library will provide reprints from PubMed for you, but it is there is a cost. So right now, let me go in real quickly and look at the PubMedMedline. And what I have been able to do, in addition to doing awareness sessions, is to provide training sessions, including how to search PubMedMedline, and that again, takes at least an hour or two, but you'll learn a little bit today just to know that it is available from the clic-on-health website. The tutorials are included from here, and when we talk about how to search it, we talk about how you can do either keyword searching or you can search on the mesh vocabulary. So coming up, I believe on the 20th, I will go into more detail about how to search PubMedMedline. It's not difficult to search, but there are definitely tips that you can learn to do a better, more effective search. So we will talk about that on Tuesday. Okay, and then continuing, and again, I apologize for the speed in which we're going through this, but we want to give you an opportunity to ask some questions. In addition to PubMedMedline from the National Library of Medicine, there is a link to the National Library of Medicine Gateway, and it will allow you to search at this point. There's two databases. In the past few months, there were links to other databases from the National Library of Medicine, which provides access to many, many different kinds of databases, not just PubMedMedline. But we've included the NLM Gateway here because it will allow you to search simultaneously two databases, the Meeting Abstracts and Health Services Research Project, which potentially are of interest to a clinician, a professional who's doing research. So if you were to just click right there, you can type in, for instance, I'll do a search on genetic testing and newborns. Oops. And you'll see that there's a result from both meeting abstracts and from the health services projects. Now, these are not full text, and I know that I said we emphasize access to free full text, but this will provide you information, contact information in terms of meetings that have occurred, or in this case, whoops, projects that are ongoing. So there is information that is available in terms of contact information. So we'd like to keep this as part of our presentation for information for the health professional. Okay. Continuing, we're going to take a look at the clinical practice guidelines and best practices. Now these were recommended to us by specifically the nursing faculty at the area nursing schools. There was an interest in being able to obtain access to what was out there in terms of evidence-based information, clinical practice guidelines, and so forth. So what you'll find here, a lot of it is free and full text, but some of the sites that are listed here do require payment in the form of a credit card or subscription, and some of it does include partial access. So I'll mention about that here, and we will be covering in more detail these websites, these resources on the 20th. So what we've included here, again, it is, the emphasis is on nursing, nursing information, but we do have a evidence-based handbook for nurses, and from the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, the Patient Safety Network. So we've linked there, and it is full text, and you can search, actually you can search in a variety of ways. All of these resources, again, if you're familiar with them, and I will spend a little more time on Tuesday talking about them, but you can search by topic, you can search by chapter, and in this case there is a section that emphasizes evidence-based practice and so forth. So that's one option. Continuing, we do have links to the National Guideline Clearinghouse and the National Guideline Clearinghouse synthesis list. It's always hard to say. The National Guideline Clearinghouse is a public resource for evidence-based clinical practice guidelines. And again, you can search here a variety of options. Let's get it up here. You can search on subject. You can browse guidelines by topic or by organization. There's also an index. And then if you wanted to go to the synthesis list, this is an option for you as well. And it will actually bring together guidelines from various agencies and organizations, and we'll talk about comparisons and so forth on different health topics. So please, if you're interested in learning more about this resource, Tuesday I will cover, a little bit more in detail, the clinical practice guidelines, best practices. Excuse me for jumping around here. All right, we're back. Everybody's back where I am? Yep, we're back, and we're going to continue looking at these resources. Let's see, the Practice Guidelines Registered Nurses Association of Ontario, the University of Iowa College of Nursing Evidence-Based Practice Guidelines, the Joanna Briggs Institute Best Practice Series Database, and the Cochrane Database of Systematic Reviews were all, as I mentioned, recommended to us by the nursing, the nurses, the nursing faculty, the nursing faculty of the area nursing schools. Let me just tell you, though, that I guess the University of Iowa, the Joanna Briggs, and the Cochrane database does require some form of subscription or payment, but all of them, actually with the exception of the University of Iowa, do have some free information available. And again, I will talk a little bit more detail on Tuesday about this, but they include not only evidence-based practice guidelines, but best practice toolkits and fact sheets on different topics and summaries in terms of being able to search clinical questions for effectiveness of treatments, and you'll be able to access search summaries. So we've included that as part of what we put under our category of clinical practice guidelines best practices. And one last thing on the page here is the TRIP database. I don't know if any of you use it, but it is a very interesting database and provides really an option if you like to do search engine searching, if you're thinking about searching for evidence-based information. An alternative to using Google is the TRIP database. And that will search a variety of evidence-based resources, databases, and so forth. It searches PubMedMedline, it searches the Cochrane database of systematic reviews, also at the National Guideline Clearinghouse, and let me just take a quick look here for you. And you can type in a term here, let's just see, and it will bring up like automatic mapping, it'll bring up terms that are already been searched, and if you search DVT prophylaxis guidelines, you can search it real quickly, and it will bring up a whole bunch of stuff here. You can see it by color coding, the type of information, the type of evidence that is presented here. You can also search by country. This is very heavy UK, but you can actually look for the US, and it will search Medline, and it will search, didn't get a result here, but it does search clinical trials and other resources as well. So I think, again, it's a nice option for you. Instead of doing a Google search for evidence-based databases and resources, try the TRIP database. Okay, so I hope you're still with me. We're going to continue going back to the local health professionals page, and we're going to take a look at the Novel New York databases. Now, I know librarians know about Novel New York, but wherever I go and speak to groups, Novel New York very often is a new something new to them. And Novel New York is available to all New York State residents. It stands for the New York Online Virtual Electronic Library. It's available through the New York State Library. And actually, it's got probably close to 40 different databases that cover a variety of subject areas for all interests and all ages. And there are 3 health databases that are part of Novel New York. We talk about the Health Reference Center Academic and the Nursing Allied Health Collection. We have fact sheets that will give you a little more information about each of these databases. There is another database. It's a small database, but it's the Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine Collection, and that is currently a part of Novel New York as well. So we will talk in more detail about Novel New York in an upcoming webinar. I believe it's the April 17th webinar. So I'll talk about the health databases plus the Novel New York project. It's really a great resource for all New York State residents. As I mentioned, it's free of charge, and you just need to log in using your driver's license or your New York State non-driver's ID or a library card. And you'll see here we do include on this page information about how to access it, the databases, using your New York State driver's license, and that'll link you right to the New York State Library site, and you can search here, and you will get to a point when you choose your database, it will ask you for your driver's license. Or you can go to the Monroe County Library System or the Pioneer Library System if you have your library card, and you'll be able to access it through their database listings as well. Like NLM, PubMed has great tutorials. We also have linked the tutorial. It's called the Guided Tour. That's a nice bit of information if you're interested in learning more about Health Reference Center Academic or the other databases that are available through Novel New York. Okay, now we also have available from the local health professionals page information if you have a question concerning drugs or medication. And what you'll find here, again, we did get a lot of recommendations from our nurses. The drug ID sites, the school nurses, we didn't actually have these included when we first started out training, and they suggest that we include these kinds of sites. So we've got 3 there that drug information sites. You'll be able to go in and color, shape, and be able to identify a particular drug. Also, too, what I think is interesting, again, the National Library of Medicine is providing a gateway here. It's called the Drug Information Portal from the National Library of Medicine. And you can search across a whole series of databases available from the National Library of Medicine on a drug. So I'll just type in the drug Accutane. And you'll see here fairly quickly you get information about the drug, including a summary of where you can find more information from databases available through the National Library of Medicine. So in this case, the first one is from Medline Plus, which is a consumer health information database. There's also LactMed, which is a database that will talk about all issues relating to lactating mothers and children and so forth. And then there's some clinical trials, for instance, which is a specific database. These, again, are databases that we do have included. We link to them directly, some of them, and I will talk in more detail about some of these as well. But this is just an example of the drug information portal that is available from the National Library of Medicine. And we have other resources, too, depending on your question as it relates to drugs and medications. We have several from the FDA. We have Drug Digest, which is a nice database which will allow you to search for information about drug interactions, contraindications, uses of drugs, comparing uses in particular medical conditions and so forth. Most of these are pretty easy to use, and you can search them as a health professional or as a consumer, a health consumer. We do link here to the page from Medline Plus, which will give information about not only prescription drugs, but herbal medications and things of that nature. So we do have information, in this case, from the National Library of Medicine Medline Plus. Also, if you're interested in finding information on how to pay for prescriptions, we have a prescription drug prices in New York State where you can actually search on a drug and see a comparison within a zip code, proximity within a county, and you'll get a good comparison of the costs of different medications. So that is something that is interesting. I will include in the, I'm trying to keep my dates straight, but I believe in the, April 9th, we're going to be doing a session, and we will talk more in detail about the drug medication information sites as well as the consumer health sites. Okay, so as I said, consumer health information, not just for the consumer, but for the health professional that needs to provide this information for their patient, their clients' families. You know, people are out there, they're searching the internet, and the quality of information that they're getting when it relates to health questions may or may not be all that great. So as a being able to know where you can get authoritative, good information, we feel that's important for the health professional to be able to provide that information for their patient and their clients. So we've linked to, again, some really great websites. I searched Medline Plus. We like Medline Plus, you can tell, because we got a big search box from every page on clic-on-health. But Medline Plus is from the National Library of Medicine. It is consumer health information. But there's over 800 health topics, and there's information that's specific to drugs and supplements. And then there's also some video cool tools. So it's not just print here. You can actually access videos and multimedia and podcasts and things of that nature. And again, I will be covering Medline Plus in more detail, but it's really a valuable resource because you can search it as a health professional but be able to provide information for your patient as well. You can also search for the easy to read presentation of materials and multiple languages. Okay, that's also not just English, not just Spanish, but many, many other languages as well. And then in addition to Medline Plus, we have included, let's see, multiple consumer health sites that are in some cases an online version of a book, the Merck Manual Online we have here. All of them are good and fairly easy to search. Health Finder is from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And again, this one is in English and in Spanish. The National Cancer Institute, if you're any question about cancer, it's a good starting off point. And the Genetics Home Reference is a great, actually it's from the National Library of Medicine, it's a website that contains information about genetic conditions. It's an online handbook, there's a glossary, and there are links to information and support groups and organizations. And it includes well-known or, well-researched genetic conditions as well as those that are not all that known in terms of the information that's out there. So I thought it was it again was recommended to us by the nurses, and I have actually searched it myself. So we are including that as part of our consumer health page. There's also lab tests online, and if you need to locate information on a particular lab test or a condition and what testing is done to diagnose a condition, Lab Tests Online is a good source to look at. Clinical trials, you've seen that come up in some of the searching that we did on TRIP there, although it didn't have a result, but that's one of the evidence-based databases that is searched. Clinical trials, you can search for what's going on out there in terms of treating a condition or use of a drug, and you can limit it by location worldwide or the United States or Rochester, so that's something you can do. It's from the U.S. National Institute of Health. And then we have a few other sites here. SkinSight is actually, I believe it's from the University of Rochester, covers more than 200 dermatologic conditions lots of good quality images, and patient handouts as well. So what you're going to find here, all of the links that we've provided, the information is readable to the non-health professional, but also useful to the health professional that wants to be able to access this information for their patients. We also include the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and then we have a link to the FDA recalls, market withdrawals, and safety alerts as well. So again, we do cover quite a variety of areas of interest to the health consumer. Okay, continuing. We have a page that's specifically of interest for school nurses, and again, they were pretty good about making recommendations to us. We did a number of sessions with the school nurses, and we have linked to sites that they can use, that are sites that are kid-friendly, that the kids can search, that parents, nurses could refer their students' parents to. And we actually have a clic-on-health teen health page that has a whole bunch of teen-related websites, and we link that from the nurses page as well. Okay, so there's some really good quality websites that we've included. We've tried to actually respond to, in this case, the nurses when they've said we need this kind of information, for instance, up-to-date immunization schedules, recommendations from the CDC and the New York State as well. And then we have some links to some organizations and associations for school nurses. Okay, now remember at the beginning of the session I did talk about how when we do training we try to cut to the chase. People have said, oh, this is great, but we need to know how to get information right away, available, online, free of charge, full text. So when we do PubMed training, we do talk about how you can get that kind of information, as well as the clinical practice guidelines, best practices resources. And Novel New York also has information, peer-reviewed, full-text information that is free. That's why we've included the online journals page. And you'll see here that we've got links to different websites, not just nursing, but all areas of medicine, biomedicine, and so forth. Some of the sites that are here do require some subscription, and some of it is limited. So for instance, the New England Journal of Medicine, I think it's the last 2 issues possibly, and it is limited in terms of the free full text. But the Biomed Central journals, there's quite a few that are indexed in PubMedMedline, and from this link you can actually go and review full text articles, online journals. So if you can browse by subject or by journal title, and that's an option for you. There's also from Medscape, e-medicine medical reference information. We've tried to, with clic-on-health, we have made the effort not to link to sites that have a lot of advertisements. In this case, you can see there is some advertisements here from WebMD, but I think for the most part you'll find when you do link to the sites we have on clic-on-health, there's no advertisements there. But again, this site was recommended to us, and you can provide feedback as a current user too. If you think there's sites that would be useful to include on clic-on-health, just let us know. But these were all vetted and recommended to us in terms of online journals. Emerging infectious disease is from the CDC, and this one is, again, if your interest is infectious diseases, this might be an option for you to take a look at. I mentioned, well actually I don't want to skip this one. This is Medscape Nurses Journals and Reference, and this one does provide free access to many journals, but you do have to you have to register. There's no cost. Well, let me see if I can go in here and show you. Actually, I guess I'm connected here. And you have access to whatever is available here. It is nursing oriented, but it is full text. You can actually get the article. And you know, that's an option for you, and it is free. New England Journal of Medicine, I mentioned, is limited free text. NursingCenter.com, also limited free text, and you can register for this too. And there's quite a few journals here. You can, you know, browse through it. And I will spend more time looking at these in this actually Tuesday session, which will be at the end of the session today. I'll give you again those dates if you want to register for the upcoming webinars. But online journals I will talk about in the I believe it's March 20th session, which will include PubMed, the clinical practice guidelines, and online journals. Okay, and we have two more here. There's the Online Journal of Issues in Nursing and Worldwide Wounds. Again, a lot of full free text, some limitation in terms of having to subscribe. All right, how are we doing for time? Okay, we're doing okay, I think. Let's continue on here. I wanted to talk to you about local libraries, but before I do that, let me just skip and just mention the remaining links that we have here on the local health professionals page. We have links to New York State and county sites, and the state public health services, county public health departments, offices for the aging, and our agency partner websites, which actually we do need to update because we've got, at this point, I think 13 participants. So we you know, can make it easy for folks who are using this to link back and forth to their agencies if that's of interest to you. All right, and then the professional nursing organizations. From here you can take a look at some of the nursing listservs and discussion lists, nursing blogs, Genesee Valley Nurses Association, New York State Nurses Association, and then some additional organizations and agencies as well. Okay, tutorials for health professionals in our resource training section. And if you remember from the main clic-on-health page, you can link directly to that. Let me just show you briefly what we've included there. Some information from the National Library of Medicine, you know, just basic how to evaluate health information online, trust it or trash it. You know, again, you're searching the internet, you can see the quality of the information you're going to be getting might vary. What you're going to get through clic-on-health is going to be good, but we, you know, do like to talk to folks about how they can, you know, evaluate information they find on the internet. These are the PubMedMedline tutorials. They're really good. Most of them are short, and they will go into detail about different features of searching PubMedMedline, which I'll go in a little more detail on Tuesday session. And then we have a kind of an overview, similar to what we did today, on how clic-on-health can be used as a gateway to health information. These, let's see, this one, the PubMed full text, mesh, and clinical practice guidelines we developed here. They're YouTube tutorials, and you'll hear my voice. The Novel New York one, also on YouTube, but it will link to a guided tour from the Gale Cengage publishing company that actually provides access to the Health Reference Center Academic and the Nursing Allied Health Collection. And what we've done too, we found that after doing the training that we wanted to create a clic-on-health local health professionals user guide. And we have a short form and a long form. And what it really, you can print it, it's a PDF, you can print it or you can view it, and it will actually link to the different parts of clic-on-health that will answer specific questions. So for instance, if you're like, okay, well, where do I go for information for my patient that's easy to understand or that's in Spanish? And we've actually created links throughout the clic-on-health website, and we hope that it will help you use the different features of clic-on-health linking to the specific resources that will answer your questions. So that's available for you. And I have printed copies if you're interested in actually anything that we have from clic-on-health, brochures, posters, the user guides. I do have some, a good supply in print, and I can send those to you as well. Okay. So let me kind of go back here, and I want to talk to you about the local libraries link. And we have specifically, we want to put information about local Rochester libraries. We want to include that as part of the clic-on-health page, because the local libraries in Rochester are very cooperative and collaborative, and the libraries in the area, the public libraries, the hospital libraries, the academic libraries, they know about clic-on-health. And in terms of being a library user using online resources, you want to be aware of what is available through local Rochester area libraries as well. So let me click on local libraries. And what you're going to find here, there's a tool you can use. It's called WorldCat, worldcat.org. And WorldCat is a database. It's got over 1 billion records cataloged by libraries worldwide. So it's basically the records of libraries from all over the world, and they'll input information about their books and their journals, magazines, and videotapes and maps and lots of things, not just books. But what you're able to do is you can search worldcat.org. It's a website that's free of charge and no password is required. You can search on a title, on an author, on a keyword or subjects, and you can do it in combination. And you can plug in a zip code, and you'll be able to locate by a geographic proximity who owns the item you're interested in. Now, this is going to be useful for you. Say you're doing a search on PubMedMedline, and you come across an article. You really want to take a look at the article, but it is not available full text. You can identify the journal in which the article appears. You can find out who within Rochester owns that particular journal or a book. You can then, well, let's do a search, and then you'll see at a point in which you find out who owns the title, the journal or the book, what you want to do at that point. So let me just see, I'll type in a search, and I'm going to look for, it's just really a keyword search, palliative care nursing. Okay, and there's quite a few. You can limit your search by the format. In this case, if you only want a book, and you can see there's quite a lot of different formats that are available, but we'll just ask for a book. And it pretty quickly finds, again, quite a few that are on the subject. But let's take a look at this one. Perhaps this is of interest to you. Palliative care nursing, quality care to the end of life. Now, what it's done here, you can change the zip code. And I'm not sure whose zip code that is, but if I was to put in my zip code, you'll find libraries that are close to the Fairport, in this case, zip code. And it actually provides you with the ability to link to the catalogs of the libraries that own it. So in this case, this particular book, within a pretty close proximity of Fairport, own this title. And you click here, and you'll be able to see, well, is it out? Is it available? It says here, check the shelves. I mean, I use worldcat.org all the time for my own reading if I want to see what branch owns a particular book. But this is going to be useful for you if you need to know who within the Rochester area owns a particular title. Now, in terms of the options, what do you do? Let me just back up a little bit. Okay, what do? You find out that a library that you're not affiliated with owns a particular title, a journal, a book. Well, you can do there's a few different things you can do. You can use the Monroe County Library System or the Pioneer Library System to request an interlibrary loan. You can also take a look and see if the academic library has a guest user policy. They all have policies. You may need to use the material on site, possibly be able to use their databases on site. You're most likely not going to be able to borrow the material directly unless you are a student or staff at the institution. But take a look at the guest user policies, and you'll get a good idea as to what you can do, all the academic libraries in the Rochester area. Also, too, if you're a graduate, not just a nursing school graduate, but a graduate of any of the area colleges or university, you may be eligible to use library services and the resources. So check that out, that we do link to that information from this page. Okay, so let's see where we are. We have gone through fairly quickly the trusted resources that we link to in these general categories. I think what I'm going to do right now, let's see, is how about we unmute everybody? And let's see if I can do that here. Just click here. Okay, I think I have done that. And what I'd like to do right now is to kind of open it up to everybody. And if you'd like to ask specific questions, you know, I can go back and take a look at what we've gone over. If you have suggestions and so forth, I'd be happy to hear from you. What do you think? Does anybody want to ask a question? No? Can everybody hear me? Okay. You can type the questions too if you prefer. Are you hearing anything? I've got a... Okay, we see a hand raised. And we're going to see if you have a question. Judy, can you type it in the chat? Can you hear Judy? I can't. Okay. For some reason, I'm not hearing anybody. Okay. Let me see if I can see that. Okay, I see a question. Yep. What is the reading levels of the patient materials? Well, I think if you go into Medline Plus, it's probably, I would say, 6th grade. And Marianne Howie, who's with us, can probably respond to that, possibly some of the other resources in terms of the reading level. I know that when you search, I believe when you search the Novel New York databases, you can actually search on the Lexile level, and I'll try to see if I can demo that next week or in April when I do a session. But I think I understand that the level is like a 6th grade level, which may be actually kind of high. But they do have, from Medline Plus, you can see that on the main page, an easy to read option. So, okay. Any other questions? No? Anything coming through? No? Okay. Well, what I would like to do, actually, let's see here. We're going to ask you to answer a couple of quick questions. We have a poll, and we're going to try to do this. We're going to send the questions to you. You should be able to see them right on the screen. And then what I'm going to do in the next few days is to send you a real easy-to-use SurveyMonkey survey. You know, we really do want to hear back from folks, especially with the webinars. We're just starting to do this. If you know, you like it, you don't like it, you think we should have done this or that, you know, that would be great. As I said, we're going to be doing a series of 4 in total. And let me just tell you right now, because I was referring to it during the course of the session, that on, let's see, March 20th, we're going to have a session that will cover PubMedMedline, the NLM Gateway, clinical practice guidelines, and best practice websites and online journals. And then April 9th, we're going to be looking at the drug medication sites as well as consumer health websites. And then April 17th, we're going to talk about the Novel New York health databases and some of the other resources that are available through Novel New York, including information about local Rochester area libraries. So those are upcoming, and if you haven't registered for them and you'd like to, feel free to do that. So what I'd like to do right now, we're going to see if we can send you a couple of questions here. Is there another question from the group? Or no? Okay. So we'll just launch a poll here. Okay. Did you get that? No? Okay. Okay. All right, let me see the other one. Okay. Let me try the other one then. Okay, great. I wonder if I can do the other one. Let's see. So that's the first one, right? Okay, let's try the other question. Okay. Got the second one? Okay, thanks folks for your patience. This is a new thing for us to do, and it's fun, but it's never sure what's going to come up on the screen. Okay. All right, so let me thank you again for your attention today. Hopefully you can come back to some of the other webinars we're going to be doing. If you are interested in learning more about clic-on-health, you can contact me directly. As I mentioned, we have promotional and informational materials. And if you are a health professional in the Rochester area, we do offer training in the use of clic-on-health on-site with small groups or large groups as well. So thanks today to everybody for coming, and I hope to hear back from you in regards to the evaluation I'll be sending out in a few days' time. Thanks very much. Bye.